Okay, so this is my prototype of my cabinet hardware. It's based off of a Japanese Fusume Hikite, kind of a little door pull for cabinets and doors, for sliding cabinets and doors. Mine's going to be pretty much circular with 4 little notches filed into it. To do that, to make this, basically we start out with a piece of bronze here. It's going to be 1 1/8 high by 3.3 inches. This is for a 1 1/8 inch hole, a 3/4 inch depth for this piece. For something smaller, like my cabinet doors, I'm going to use a 3/4 inch depth, but the same length. Circumference of the circle is going to be the same. And you can see on this one, this tore out here. So I just have to avoid that. Make sure I get the braze all the way to the end, or grind back solid metal before folding it. So I got a bunch of scraps from making my arm, like this kind of failed piece of trying to make the sides of the helmet that I'll flatten out, and I can get a couple more, maybe 2 pieces on each of these. So that would be about 8 pieces there. I've got 10 cut out already, ready to go. And before I bend them, I'm gonna anneal them so they're soft, easy to bend. For these pieces, I use the same hole saw that I use for the cabinets to cut out the central piece so that this will drop in, lay down there. All of them are going to have a bit of convexity given to them, just using the pritchel hole on the anvil. The ones that I'm going to inlay on the cabinets, I'm going to keep flat so I don't have to inlay as deep the curved ones would be, but all the other ones on the outside of the cabinet and drawers and everything will have this raised rim to it. So I'll take you through each step so we get all the parts, and then at the very end we'll kind of solder them all together so that they all look uniform. So I've got the pieces that I'm going to use for the tube section cut out here, and I just cut out all the little washers that will be used for the faceplate. Got those wire brushed. I still need to bend them into shape, but first I'm going to anneal all of these pieces so that they're soft and I can bend them into the tube shape easier than they are right now. So I'm going to heat them up with a torch, get them red hot, and then just quench them in water, and that'll make them soft so that I can wrap them around my mandrel. So I got all these pieces annealed. I just need to clean up the edges where I'm going to braze them so that the clean metal braze will take better that way. So I've got all these pieces here, and the next step to getting it to about this stage is to make it into a little ring. I have a piece of walnut here that I drilled out with the same hole saw to give me pretty much the exact circumference that I need. And since I annealed all of them, I can pretty much just go around for the most part with my fingers and get it lined up. And then just take a small little and that'll be close enough. I can use a little clamp to hold it together close enough. So I got all of the tubes kind of made up and they're ready to be TIG brazed. I have it set up on this block on my welding table. I got silicone bronze filler that I can use. I have a scratch start TIG set up so that when I go to braze it, I just touch the metal and usually starts an arc, but I'm not that great, so. So usually right around the edges, it likes to melt really quick. So I went in and added a bit more filler to the top. So I can grind that down, make it even, and then anneal it again so that it's soft enough to bend the edge over. I annealed them and I've ground most of the inside out. There is still a line in most of them, but it's not going to be seen, especially if I put it towards the top. Then nobody's going to see it, or to the side. That way, when you're pulling on the cabinet, you don't feel it either. I still have to determine that. But to flare the edges, I just have this block here, my little bench anvil, and I'm just using a small, tiny little ball peen hammer. You could do it with cross peen, but I've found that that digs in too much, so a ball peen is better than the cross peen. And I just hold it about 45 degrees off with about 1/8 of an inch sticking up, and just good pound on it. On your first pass, you can go around once, and then I'll probably go around twice, and then anneal it again. That way it's soft, and you can get the whole radius onto the piece. And you just have to be careful right where the seam is. If it starts to open up, I'll probably go back in and just add a dab of braze to it just to close it up. But if you're using solder, if you just make that joint real nice, I think solder would probably be stronger than what I'm doing, because it'll flow into the crack a little bit better, especially if you have it mated up real well. Anneal it and then come back to flare it all the way. So I've got these here that I annealed. These I had to re-braze. They're splitting a little bit. I have to go back in and fill that a little bit. But this one looks okay. So I got the rim about halfway done. What I like to do, come back with just a ball peen hammer. Use a brass hammer on top of that, so it just helps make the face of this symmetrical and round. And I can come back in with this hammer has two sharper corners right here, and the ball peen is just a little too curved on that. So I'll come back with this pretty flat hammer and just go around the edge and find the shape of it. So this is getting it to curl back on itself. So it's about a 90-degree angle right now. Let's come back here. Make sure it's flat. And probably go back. I can go around. Come at a different angle. This is lowering that lip there. So that's how it's going to look right off the hammering. I'm going to go back in, wire brush it, and then sand the middle of it so that it's smooth on the inside. That way everything is uniform and looks different. Like these, I used a Dremel to smooth out the edge, but it's a little rough looking. So I'm going to go back in with some probably 100 grit sandpaper, 120 grit, sand that and the inside, then go back and wire wheel it. That way it makes it smooth and it looks nice. This is what it kind of looks like wire wheeled. It looks a bit smoother than this. Once it's at this stage, I'll start sanding it. So I've got these pieces to make. I'm just using a file to file it in. I've got them all marked. I don't know if you can see it, but described where I need to file it in. They're not all perfectly the same size, but they're going to be far enough away from each other that I won't notice. If I had another hole saw to go on the outside, that might have been the way to do it. To have a consistent size. If you guys are going to do that, you might have a hole saw for the outside and then come back in and hole saw the middle so that they're both concentric and all the same for you. But I just take just a normal round file. I can usually start it off with a triangular file just to give me a place to put my file. So I've got all the pieces cut out and filed, and I just need to give them a little bit of curve to them. And the easiest way I've found to do it with the tools that I have is just use my little wood dish, drop it in there, and then I have a shot put welded as a stake, and I just drop it there a couple times, and that'll produce a nice even curve to all the faces so that they're a little bit of curve to them. So I don't know if it'll pick up on camera, but compared to being flat, it's just a little bit proud. So I have all the pieces ground and wire brushed. I just have to solder them to these pieces together. And these pieces are for the cabinet, so they get a backing to them, so your finger doesn't go all the way through. And they'll get soldered on like that and then ground down. That way your finger doesn't get pinched. But I'll take you over to the soldering bench and we'll get these all soldered up. So to solder, you just have to use a little bit of flux, and I'm just going around on this inside edge. It doesn't have to be everywhere. I'm just doing a little bit on kind of the four corners here. And that'll be enough there. Kind of center it to where it's gonna go. And use a torch. Heat it up. So the flux flows. And that should be just enough solder to make it run. And then I have the little cap part. So I've got the pieces here. I've cleaned them up on the wire wheel, but after soldering, sometimes there's some discoloration on the inside here. There you go. There's some discoloration on the inside here. And I'm just gonna use a Dremel and a little wire wheel. Go on the inside, clean that up. Then all I have to do is drill a hole here on the side. That way a nail can be driven up into the wood so that you can't pull the piece out. So we'll turn you around and we'll clean these guys up. Now I just need to take a nail and put it up into the middle here. That way I can't pull it out. Because right now, when you pull from the inside and it's kind of flush with the back here, you can still pop it out like that. So just a small little nail going through will keep that pulling out. So I've got these little nails. They're like 12 millimeters, pretty small, but they'll just fit in these little holes. And I just use a little punch to kind of hold it. And then just hammer it in all the way. And that'll keep it from pulling out.
So these are how the Fusume Hikite turned out. You can see on the inside where the nail is to keep them in. On the cabinet I have the backing to them, so you can't put your finger through and get it pinched. And then down here on the cabinets, same thing, it's got the nail in it and you can pull it and it just stays in there and is a nice addition to the drawers and to my cabinet doors. Same thing on the pantry doors and the rest of my drawers and cabinet doors. I got a couple on the bed drawers as well. So I hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.